Hey folks, so before we head inside and talk about what happened in Chapter 113 and what might happen in Chapter 114, I gotta say one kinda spoilery thing. Cause look, if this is the penultimate chapter to the arc's conclusion, I'm all in. And not to dwell more on the future than the present, but Chapter 113 did a fantastic job at alluding toward Chapter 114 and 115 becoming this beautiful disaster. And I'm all here for it, so that's as much as I'm gonna say for now. But now, I think it's time to head inside and grab ourselves a drink. Alright folks, welcome to the bar. So before we hit the wall, I'm going to give you all Dan's hot take. Chapter 113 is starting to make me feel like the fight between Koichi and number 6 is dragging on a little too much. What I mean by that is, it kind of feels like it's beating a dead horse. And like, not to kind of point out facts or anything, but number 6 has been shot, he's been stabbed, he's been burnt, he's been blown up. How many more things does this guy have to be? At this point, the only thing he hasn't been is strangled and drowned. There's gonna be some crazy ironic twist with number 6 that we've all just been ignoring right in front of our faces. I don't know what it's gonna be or if he'll just be introduced as a villain in My Hero Academia, but when it happens, it's gonna slap us in the face and we're all gonna go, oh man. And granted, there's a chance that he might not even make it to My Hero Academia because Chapter 113 really is kind of doing away with possibly any evidence of him ever even existing. I know that's a little bit confusing to process, so let's just head over to the wall right now and I'll explain what I mean. Okay, so Chapter 113 really tackled the issue that's number 6's identity. When this grandiose experiment was conceived, number 6 was under the impression that he was going to be a one-for-one carbon copy of O'Clock. I mean, we've seen that number 6 did his homework. He watched video after video. He studied interview after interview with his number 1 hero. And he made sure that when it came time to accepting his quirk, he was ready to take on the mantle of O'Clock. The thing is, when everything was falling in line and he was ready to steal O'Clock's spotlight, Koichi kinda showed up, mentored by none other than O'Clock himself. So instead of that remove and replace that number 6 wanted, he was blindsided by somebody who had the right to the title of successor. And all that does is set off number 6 even more. And to be quite honest, this is where I say I don't know for how much longer number 6 can stay super mad. And it almost is kind of drawing parallels with My Hero Academia at this point, because both villains are really getting torn to shreds at this point. In My Hero Academia, Shigaraki has just been blown up. In Vigilantes, number 6 is a literal flaming skeleton burning through the sky, shooting off his bones as explosions. Both titles have dangerously strayed into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure territory, and at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I think anything could really happen in this universe. I am saying this right now. There is going to be somebody who has some sort of stand power. When you think about it, when you combine Rhodey's quirk from the new movie and Star and Stripes' New Order, you could arguably have somebody whose soul acts as a spirit that can fight. But unfortunately, we all know that that can't happen. But yeah, at this point in the chapter, number 6 is a flaming ball of bones. And the worst part about this situation is the person that's learning the most from it is All For One. And knowing that he gains so much from this situation, we have to take a step back and really understand where he's at in his villainous career right now. In Vigilantes, the general understanding is that All For One is dead. Every single hero has not had any second thought when it comes to thinking that All For One might be back. Because at this point in time in My Hero Academia, the only person that started to pull on the strings that will eventually reveal that All For One is the ringleader to this whole operation was Detective Tanuma. And see, the problem is Detective Tanuma figured out who was behind everything about 3 years before everyone else did, so naturally the plot kind of took care of him. From there, it's kind of been left to people like Soga and Tsukauchi to pick up the pieces and eventually realize that All For One is at the end of this charade. And my guess is when that ending occurs, that'll be when Tsukauchi realizes it and has to have that conversation with All Might here in My Hero Academia. At least that would kind of give way to the fact that I believe My Hero Academia Vigilantes is currently taking place during My Hero Academia's first/second season. But yeah, Chapter 113 is really starting to make me wonder when this arc is going to end. It feels like each chapter ends in a very climactic manner. And it makes me think, oh, is this going to be the end of the fight? Is the next chapter going to be them reeling and kind of going, oh, this is it for you, number 6? And it turns out that it's not, so it's really kind of just leading me astray. Like I said, number 6 has gone through a lot in the past couple of chapters, so it's interesting to see what's really next for him. I mean, this has to be his final form, right? I mean, when you think about it, there really has to be nothing left beyond a skeleton that moves faster than the speed of sound, right? And look, the last 3 pages of the chapter, to me, they made the entire chapter. The fight between Koichi and number 6, it's been dragging out. So this little bit that happened at the end of the chapter, to me at least, it feels like, you know, the least amount that they're doing to progress the plot. Barring any unforeseen crazy incident involving number 6 going after the people at the street below, the fight has to be wrapping up pretty soon. I actually always predicted the people of Naruhata coming to the aid of the crawler in the end. There was something about the camaraderie of the town of Naruhata that really made me feel like every single one of them were represented by the crawler. This particular moment in Vigilantes really puts into perspective how much Koichi has done for the town. Naruhata was the town that people forgot, but for the sake of the people that lived in the town, they knew that it was constantly protected by a single vigilante. And look, while chapter 113 kind of felt like it dragged on a current situation and rephrased what it said from the chapter before with the character in an entirely new form, it still was a good chapter. If we're gonna move away from this chapter with 2 takeaways, it's that 1, the O'Clock vestige was indeed a vestige of All For One manipulating number 6 from behind the scenes, and 2, it's that the people of Naruhata are going to be coming to the crawler's aid against number 6. Whether or not that quote-unquote help will be a detriment to Koichi's cause is to be said. And for the first time in a while, I'm kind of stumped as to thinking what might happen in the next chapter. Chapter 114 has so many possibilities. I thought that this chapter was going to be an end to the fight because of how 112 ended, but little did I know that number 6 was going to turn into a flaming skeleton. And it's not like I have anything against that, it's kind of just like, okay, when do you put down the bad guy? He turned into the gigantic monster, but now it's like, okay, he's a flying skeleton laser monster. And I'm not trying to say that they're not setting up for some crazy climactic ending, but at what point do you just go, okay, let's just wrap this up? And if I had to give you my chapter estimate as to when this fight might end, I would say right now, 3 chapters. And if you want to ask me what chapter 114 is going to entail, I have absolutely zero idea. My guess is the people of Naruhata are going to be involved to a certain degree, but beyond that, I have no idea, because every time that I think number 6 is going to get defeated, he has another transformation that he goes through. So for all we know, he's going to turn into that giant beast again, but this time he's going to be all glowy skeletal-like. But let me know how you felt about chapter 113. Let me know if you have any criticisms, and let me know if you think that I'm wrong in my criticisms. Do you think that this arc is going to be wrapping up in 2 to 3 chapters like I do, or do you think that this arc has a little bit more meat and veg left to it? Let me know down below, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Cheers.